Recently, the United States military aircraft, the C-17, landed at Amritsar. It was carrying 104 Indian deportees, out of which 33 each belonged to Gujarat and Haryana, and 30 hailed from Punjab. Rest were from Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, and Chandigarh. Children and women were also part of that consortium. And this comes amidst the harsh and adamant crackdown on the illegal immigration that the Trump government has been so emphatic and unequivocal about. But what we are going to discuss today is not about how the opposition is blaming the government for not sending its own aircraft to carry or escort the people back home, or why they were chained, or why the flight, the C-17 aircraft, had to land at Amritsar of all the other places. We are going to discuss rather what lies behind such a miserable and perilous journey. What forces the migrants to take such a treacherous and difficult journey where they are ready to sacrifice their wealth, they're ready to sacrifice their lives in search of what we know as the American dream. They are forced or persuaded into taking what is known as the donkey route. We are going to understand the nomenclature, how the term came about. We are going to discuss a lot of intriguing stuff as well as harrowing stuff, the experiences. A lot of experiences have been reported in the news of the people who have returned, how they fared in the jungles of Panama, the diseases, the deaths, the people, the dead bodies that were half eaten, or the skeletons that they encountered on their way through the Darien Gap. So, a lot of things via mapping we are going to discuss. So, just kindly bear with me. So, first of all, the C-17 aircraft. We'll discuss at the end why such a pomp and show was there. So, how the donkey route. So, basically, this movie came, Donkey, in 2023. The director was Rajkumar Hirani. It featured people like actors like Shah Rukh Khan, Taapsee Pannu, and Boman Irani and others. So basically, Donkey is a Punjabi idiom which stands for hopping from place to place. So of course, the West, they have just convoluted terms, and then they are referred to as the donkey route. So a lot of people have been pursuing this donkey route, or the route to fulfill their aspirations, their desires, in order to search and establish more socio-political, economically favorable conditions for themselves. And so this is one of the route which is commonly known. So India to Europe. So the modus operandi is same. There are agents which arrange the passports, false documents, and they provide transport, and in the way they often extort even more money by nefarious means, and they promise that they would lead them to this place which they want to go and in Europe. And out of all the places, the UK, United States, and Canada are the hotspots for such a route. And basically, these agents dupe them. Sometimes this migration is not limited to just transport of people. It turns into something much more horrific, that is human trafficking, sexual abuse takes place. They are forced to work in unhygienic conditions. They are forced to leave their normal lives behind. So a lot of things, agents, operators, they are forced. Obviously, they are illegally transported to these foreign countries abroad. So they have to forge papers, they have to be hidden in vehicles, they just cannot go around showing their faces. And the basic thing is basic, once they land in Europe, they are to the people who are aspiring to have a dwelling or place of their own in Europe, they just need to get a Shenzhen visa, so that they can travel visa free in any of the 26 nations in Europe. So this is one of the modus operandi. Okay. This is what is in news because we are talking about specifically the deportation from US to this Darien Gap. We'll discuss via map what is happening here. So let us move to the Americas. So now the thing is, because already this crackdown on illegal immigration is not anything new. Okay, just in order to appease its MAGA, make America great again supporters, those people who voted for him in anticipation that Trump would make a tough stand, take a tough stand against the illegal migrants. So in order to appease them, he has taken such a way of grand way of appeasing them. So basically, direct flights and direct boats and ferries are not. So the best way how the people they undertake this donkey route, how they can go without being identified by the border patrols is via this region, which is known as the Darien Gap. Now I will. So initially, what happens is, so not only for India, in fact, the majority of the people who are, first let me show you what exactly is the Darien Gap. So this place, this is Panama. We have discussed the Panama about the Panama Canal in one of my previous lectures. This is the Darien province. This, except these two parts, this entire is the Darien province, and this consists of a 60-mile stretch of dense forest laden, swamp-like and hilly terrain, which is known as the Darien Gap. So here we know in Latin America, in South America, the countries mostly they have lenient or lax measures or lax laws, not as strict as the United States. So already people in Mexico, they are aspiring, they are always aspiring to obtain citizenship or some kind of asylum in United States. So here what happens is that majority of the people who aspire to enter into United States, they first enter South America. So for the favorable countries for entering into South America are Ecuador and Colombia. And just for stats, that majority of the people they hail from countries who are undertaking this perilous journey. They hail from countries such as Venezuela, Haiti. Then other countries are Ecuador, then the far off countries, even Afghanistan, China, Nepal, Pakistan, even Angola, which is an African country, all it lies across the Atlantic Ocean. So in 2023, approximately 520,000 people undertook this perilous journey, all out of which more than half belong to this hailed from Venezuela. Venezuela is again, what is the reason behind this mass migration? Why are the people so desperate? It can be most common is the political upheaval or the instability or the insecurity. Then recently climate change has also led to a massive displacement of people in India. Post independence, what has happened is people have always aspired to go towards the western countries, and then the generations after them have simply followed suit. Okay, so for example, Venezuela, I have discussed the economy is shrinking, economy is in very bad shape. And in case of Haiti, Haiti is located, if you don't know, Haiti is all located on the cusp or on the tectonic plate subduction zone, so it experiences a lot of earthquakes. In 2010, there was a massive exodus of people from this because massive natural disaster in the form of earthquake took place also. Haiti, otherwise, also is not a very high income country. And so let us now concentrate. So, some important places which you will keep on hearing in the news. So, after reaching Colombia, so there are two places here. One is Turbo and one is Nicocli. These are you as you can see, these are the coastal towns. Okay, so obviously another thing you can see this yellow line which extends all the way from Alaska to the tip of South America. So this is the Pan American Highway, this yellow line. So you can see because of the harsh terrain, the jungle-like terrain of this Darien Gap, the harsh terrain, the hilly terrain, the unstable terrain, high rainfall, this lies in the tropical region, so it also landslides also occur. So there are no paved roads, no such proper pakka habilitations, and there are no check post proper military forces. So this is a hotbed, or this is a source of various drug cartels. Various some paramilitary forces are also there for who further extort or abuse the people who are trying to migrate or cross this treacherous path. So one of the ways is that this the people arrive at Turbo and Nikokli, and then via boat, by a route of ferry or boats, they are taken to this. So this we know, this is Colombia. This Capurgana they are taken to, and one other place is here. This is Akandi. So these are also the eastern coastal towns of Colombia. After that, they have to cross several rivers and as such, and then they make their way inwards towards and try to go past or the treacherous Darien Gap. And we have the places like Membrillo, and we have villages like Bajo Chiquita, where they enter, escape this harsh jungle and enter into villages. Then further they move on. Some migratory placement centers, some temporary shelters are there. Then you might have heard of this organization known as Doctors Without Borders. So they are also actively working to help grant them medical aid, because the people are not just the problem there. There's not just extortion or sexual abuse. There are also the harsh weather, fungal diseases, vector-borne diseases, mosquitoes, venomous snakes, crocodiles. So all this is also steep terrain. People just can easily fall over the steep slopes and they die. One of the other part is this Jurado. The people can arrive at Jurado, and then they can further enter inwards. There are some villages, Pineta, inside Panama, and further. So this is just crossing the harsh terrain. Okay, then they travel by bus route when they reach this. This actually exists to Yaviza, this Pan American highway, and this break occurs. They travel by bus, and then further on they are taken to camps, temporary shelters, and finally again their ordeal is not yet complete, because we know there are a lot of Latin American countries that need to be crossed. So this Panama Canal, we know. So this then they have to encounter this Costa Rica. This is another country. Then Nicaragua. Sometimes what happens is sometimes people also take a flight or make way from their origin countries to Nicaragua and then move ahead. Then we have Honduras, then we have Guatemala, then we encounter Mexico. Okay, then we encounter Mexico, and Mm. then finally we have the some hope for the people too. This is the Texas state, America. There is a river Rio Grande also, so they are temporary here. They try to seek asylum. They try to convince the border patrol to let them through. So you can see such a harsh and arduous journey that they have to take place. And also there has been, instead, despite knowing that they are sacrificing their lives, there is no guarantee that they will get asylum in America, because they know that the probability of deportation is also very high. Then also it has increased the migration, and this treacherous journey through the Darien Gap has increased year on year. And as far as sexual abuse is concerned, the Doctors Without Border, it had a stat that every 3.5 hours, one person is sexually assaulted here. So very grave. And sometimes the people who are even not there, guerrillas are there, paramilitary forces, the drug cartels are there. So not only human trafficking, but whatever wealth, like sometimes what the people they are traveling, they have money soon, because they cannot carry any such money. They have to leave their belongings behind. So they are taken, that money is taken from them too. So this is, and these countries are also, a lot of influx of population is occurring there. So demographically, economically also where a lot of instability is occurring. So there also a lot of unrest is there. Okay. Then finally some summary. So this I told you. So this basically, this green portion, it corresponds to the Darien Gap. Darien is also a province in Panama, the country of Panama. So this knee Nicoklai, and I told you another coastal city here, Turbo. So these are the coastal cities where normally the people by boats they go to Akandi and Northern. We discussed another city. Then they make their way inwards to Baho Chiquito, and then this their further journey continues. So again, this Nekoklai, there's Turbo Akandi, Kapuragana. Then these are the basic boat routes, and this is the walking routes where they have to take. Obviously, transport is not available. So Canan, Membrilo, Baja Chiquito, Laja Blanca. So these are temporary centers, San Vincent and Laja Blancas, where they temporarily reside, they make camps before further moving on to the other countries. Similarly, I talked about this Jurado in Colombia and this Jack. So this is another alternate route which the people take so in order to cross this Darien Gap, and because it is not easily monitorable by the security forces, so but now a crackdown is seriously taking place, and as of 2024 the Doctors Without Borders strict action has also started being taken against them, because they are providing medical aid, so they are also in, although their intentions are noble, their intentions are pure, but they are encouraging the people, because people know that some of one or the other will help them, so that is also encouraging. So severe crackdown, closure, more measures, barbed wires, the borders are, because it's a very harsh area, borders proper fencing is not very easy to establish. Mm. Okay, so if we want, I've already told you that if we consider America itself, so in America, it has been observed that the proportion of the illegal migrants, India is the source of fifth largest number of migrants who are trying to enter America from a southwest border. Okay, so this is, and moreover, when I talked about this, that 520,000 people they migrated in 2023. Out of that, one fifth are children. One fifth are children, and out of that, also significant proportion are the children below 5. So there are pregnant women also who are taking this arduous and perilous journey. So that is why it is very risky. Now, again, this portion, why was there a need for Trump not to use the normal chartered flight operated by the Customs and Excise Department? Was that he wants to do everything in a grand manner. He wants to just drive home the fact. He wants to drive or inculcate that fear in the illegal migrants, that action is going to be, severe action is going to be taken place if you are discovered. And already around 1,100 Indian illegal immigrants have been deported. 20,000 more have been identified, but it has been estimated that a whopping 750,000 Indians are living there illegally. So things are bound to become worse. It is through articulate and subtle diplomacy that our leaders have to maneuver things to maintain the diplomatic relations. So this is basically to give it a visual, to make it a visual spectacle, and to appease his huge following who has voted for him. In order to, they are not happy with the immense migration. They allege that we people have been taking their jobs, but they cannot deny that Indians among various other nationalities who are part of the American society there, they have contributed a lot to the economy itself. So again, this H-1B visa, although I'm not going to discuss this in detail, but the thing is, if we go by some stats, so around 350,000 students, Indian students, have been studying in the US. They have been pursuing their master's degree in the STEM field, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And various companies like TCS, Wipro, Infosys, they have also acquired or procured, requested for visas for 20,000 of their employees. Then 72% of the visas, 4 lakh visas, which have been issued under the H-1B program, that have been issued to Indians. And undoubtedly, Indians have the Indians of the Americans of Indian origins. They have acquired time and again the top posts in the top companies worldwide, many of them belonging to US. So we have capable leaders. You know who this person is. So by properly, so that we have to distinguish. We can't let even the legal migrants to Mm. to bear the brunt of the crackdown on the migration. We have to protect those. It's not that illegal migrants. We have to rehabilitate those also, because they have suffered tremendously. There was reports that in the planes they were chained, they were handcuffed, they could not access the washroom for a whopping staggering 40 hours. They were dehydrated, and this is way beyond, over and above what they endured. The dehydration, the lack of sanitation, water, food, what they encountered in the jungles of Panama. So, this is something that needs to be looked into. Subtle and articulate maneuvering has to be done between the two sides, between the two nations, so as to maintain the bilateral and cordial relations and further improve the situations for the coming generations to follow. So with that, we conclude for today. Till next time, Jai Hind.